But you know that the euthanasia laws in Canada are becoming problematic when even W5, the outlet that defamed me as far as I'm concerned, but I don't think anybody's watching them anymore. But W5, when they start running pieces critical of this policy, and it wasn't even really that critical from what I saw. Someone was watching it and sent me a few clips of the W5 talking about the euthanasia laws in Canada. But it highlights a point that I've been talking about for a while now. I don't think I've been talking about it for a while, but it highlights a point that we've brought up. 10,064 Canadians were euthanized in Canada in 2021. That represents over 3% of all death in Canada. Let that sink in for a second. It represents 3% of death in Canada. They are going to expand the eligibility for maids, medical assistants in dying, to include the mentally ill or the mentally unwell. I don't know if mentally ill is a politically incorrect term, but I'm going to use it anyhow. Mentally ill. They're going to expand it to include mental illness because, according to the debate that occurred in the Senate, it would be discriminatory not to offer the service of assisted death to the mentally ill. It would be discriminatory. You got to allow the mentally ill who in law cannot consent to contract under certain circumstances. You've got to allow them the opportunity to consent to being euthanized by the state. And people are not in as much uproar as they should be, but we saw now in Belgium, was it Belgium or Brussels? Brussels is the capital of Belgium. Belgium. A 23-year-old woman who survived the ISIS terror bombing a few years ago, euthanized because she had depression and couldn't go on living with the stress of what she went through. Euthanized a physically healthy 23-year-old woman who suffered from, it's not rocket science. She suffered from some mental issues. To not be able to move on and to have the depression, anxiety on a what's the not cornucopia on a slew of medications. She was euthanized, and this is coming to Canada. And there was a clip from the show that someone sent me, and they said, this law is not going to protect the mentally ill from anything. It's not going to protect them from themselves. And listen to one of the people
that provides a pathway to death. I have a patient right now who is saying, I would never kill myself on my own, but I will kill myself with MAID because that's not suicide.
I was like, oh, like this is like way less stressful, and I get to like work in a field that's like helping more people.
Serena Baines is afraid of dying too. This 24-year-old university graduate works part-time and is about to leave Vancouver for an internship in Ottawa. But as someone with depression, anxiety, and borderline personality disorder, she fears the new legislation won't protect her from herself.
Because I experience suicidality so often, I have an understanding that if I wanted to access MAID, that I could in a time of suicidality, and I'd probably be successful at it.
Oh yeah, no question. And the government would think that they're doing something good for you. Who are we to deny this to someone who's mentally ill, someone who suffers from depression? Who are we to not grant them what they say that they want now in the moment? I'm sure the system is going to work perfectly to protect people from these moments where they need the protection from themselves, not the assistance from the states to carry out the ultimate decision on themselves. This is. Can you imagine? Like, I can't skip to the future fast enough, nor would I want to, even if I could. I saw the movie Click, and it's a depressing ass comedy. We're going to get to a point in the future where we're going to look back at Canada and the transformation of Canada under Justin Trudeau. Censorship, political division, racial division, charter rights violations, desecration of the economy, abuse of a generation of children, spike in self-harm, drug addiction, drug overdoses, desecration of the fundamental rights that made Canada what it was, And now the assistance of suicide that takes suicide within the 4 years that this legislation has been implemented, I think it's 4 or 5 years, takes euthanasia, medical assistance in dying, to represent 3% of the deaths in Canada. 3% of all death in Canada was at the hands of the government through this euthanasia policy. Medical assistance in dying. Call it MAIDS, because it sounds so much better than euthanasia. And that number is only going to go up. Oh, hey, doggy. Doggy knows what's going on here. One of the cases in Canada consisted of someone with chemical sensitivity, also known as allergy, because she couldn't find adequate lodging. And by the way, don't trust me. Don't trust me. Or let me rephrase. Trust me, but verify me. Here. This is where I was trying to find the stats. Here. No, let's go here. One of them was MAIDS, Canada, chemical sensitivity. We all heard the story of the veteran with PTSD who was offered MAIDS. Woman with chemical sensitivities chose medically assisted death after failed bid to get better housing. My goodness, does the government just not get to profit on both ends of this? They don't have to provide the better housing. They get to free up a space in the healthcare system. I'm telling you, like, don't trust me. What was the other one? There was another case of MAIDS in Canada. Oh, this one. Hold on. Get the doctor. MAIDS, Canada, COVID, depression. There was one, a woman who was given medical assistance in dying, and her family could be with her to assist her in death, but not to assist her through the COVID pandemic. Finally, people are starting to talk about it. More than 10,000 Canadians received a medically assisted death in 2021. What was the story about the person? Family couldn't be with her vaccine. Something about vaccine. I think it had to do with this. I won't be able to find this one. But this is the legacy of Justin Trudeau's Canada. Some of you say it's not one person, whether or not it's a cabal, for lack of a better word. It has been under one person's reign that Canada has been destroyed. Hopefully not irreparably. In 7 short years. It started in 2015 when Trudeau took office. Internet censorship. Increased powers of the state, increased provisions of criminal code to further criminalize speech. 2016, Bill C-16, Jordan Peterson raising the alarms back then. Bill C-11, regulate the internet. Medically assisted death before COVID. Then comes COVID. Justin Trudeau donates our PPE that his top doctor is now required, says is going to threaten everyone has to wear again. Shut down the economy, isolate children, set people back years, if not decades, for psychological, intellectual development, self-harm, drug overdose, spiking in Canada, economy in shambles, shipping billions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars to finance foreign conflict. And now basically, yeah, let's let Canadians, let's give them free rein to kill themselves, or not to kill themselves, to allow the state to kill them. Don't call it killing them, though. Don't call it euthanasia either. Let's give it a nice clean name, like MAIDS. Medical assistance in dying.